the Lumberyard in Pullman. This is the Cougar Football Hour. Tonight's show is presented by the Lumberyard. They got something for everyone at the Lumberyard Food Hall in downtown Pullman. Now, alongside Cougar head coach Jimmy Rogers, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Happy homecoming! Here we are at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is the Cougar Football Hour. Washington State 1-0 on this season. One game in the books, and here we go. Another one at home. Excited to see everyone at Giesa Field coming up Saturday night. San Diego State, the homecoming opponent, kickoff at 7:15. We've got another packed show for you here tonight. We will get to the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, in just a moment. Wide receivers coach Jake Minich joining us, and Josh Meredith will be here as well. Coach, here we are. It's a 1 week in the books. We are off and rolling with our normal routine of the Cougar Football Hour. How are you feeling here on this Thursday night as we inch closer to this homecoming matchup with the Aztecs?
I'm feeling good. I like getting into the routine of the season where the prep is the prep, and then you get to play a little bit sooner. So I'm excited for what we can learn from some of the mistakes that we had last week and get better this upcoming weekend versus a good opponent.
Well, let's look back. Week one, a victory over Idaho, 13-0 the final score. How do you look back on that matchup with the Vandals Saturday night at Giesa Field?
Yeah, I right after the press conference, I gave credit to Idaho. I think that is a good football team. It's a really good FCS program. They had great length. They were really physical at the point of contact, and I knew that they would be excited for this opportunity. When you coach a bunch of FCS guys, they have a chip on their shoulder about wanting to play at the highest of levels. So to only be, a couple miles away from one another, I know there was extra motivation on their end to come out and perform. For the most part, I felt like defensively we played solid. There were some things that we needed to clean up, and offensively we were able to get ourselves out of a situation there at the end that I know our players didn't believe that was their best game. And I could tell you in the run game, it was there was a lot of hiccups, but a lot of that is correctable as far as just miscommunication to wrong counting in the box to maybe not enough communication to just angles and technique in their footwork. So we put an emphasis on that this week just to make sure that things are clear, that they understand what they're doing, and that they improve technically to be able to go out and perform how we want them to perform. But overall, I just felt like the game itself maybe didn't go the way we had planned, but the result did. As far as it being a win, we could learn from the mistakes that were had in the game and correct those things. And we need to take a step forward, this weekend and make sure that we hit on all cylinders, because I know we're a better football team than how we played last Saturday collectively as a group. The response, though, of the adversity that happened in the game was awesome. And for a lot of new players playing together as one, there could have been a pointing of the finger or blaming each other on what wasn't happening in our favor. And there was never that. We just kept responding and kept trying to play the next play. And, so I'm excited for, the next step this weekend.
Well, and this Saturday, it's going to be that second game where everyone's played together, because you look at it, 70-plus new players. The numbers, 31 players made their WSU debut in that game. 7 guys made their collegiate debut. How was it just having everyone out there as a collective unit for the first time against an opponent?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, obviously you work through the spring and then the fall, and you're with them in the summer, and you try to get them as mentally ready as possible to go out and compete so they could just relax and play. But I think there's always first game jitters with the whole team. It's the first game of the season, regardless of how many snaps that you've taken. I don't think, nerves are a bad thing, but you can't let them impact your mental state of what we're asking them to do. But the fact that there were 7 players making their college debut, it goes to show that we have young talent on this team. We've pulled the shirt on many true freshmen in this year's class. And so I do believe that the future's bright, but overall, at the end of the day, when the ball is snapped and we spot it on the next down, you got to be able to reset yourself, refocus, and not make uncommon errors, because some of these things were errors in which we hadn't made through camp pretty consistently. And so I'm excited about that growth that we can take after the mistakes that we had made, because there's a ton of growth on both sides of the ball and on special teams for sure.
For you, your first game coaching at Giesa Field, what was it like kind of coming out of the tunnel? I don't know if there were points where you're on the sideline and kind of looking up and just soaking in the atmosphere. How was that for you?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome as far as like the overall attendance. I thought was really solid. I think obviously we need to put a product on the field in which people get excited about and want to continue to come. But overall, I thought it was a great atmosphere. Pre-game with the new Cougar Prowl I thought was really cool. I think it's cool for our players. And then on top of that, obviously, throughout the game, we got to create the energy in which lifts the stadium. But I just encourage all of fans just to continue to come out and support, in an era in which we're living in right now. I think your presence at games is just as important of what you can do for us. If it's not a dollar, then it's your presence, and you could be a part of something, because the players that grow up wanting to play college football want to play in front of a sold-out stadium, want to play in front of an atmosphere. They want to play for a community that cares about football and athletics entirely, and I do believe that can be spiked here, because it's, just as a football program we need to improve, so does everything else in order to raise this to become what we want to become.
You touched on the defense a little bit before, and that is very well said there. Only giving up 10 points, and I know the standard is set, and the standard is set high. 3 of those points, felt like a win, considering after the turnover where Idaho was able to get field position, keeping them out of the end zone. What made it such a strong night for the defense?
Yeah, I think many things, but I would say how we swarm to the football is always the main factor of how we have success. The communication was good on that side of the ball. But yeah, their overall effort as far as the things that we need to clean up on the defense, it's like angles to the ball, making sure people don't cut across your face, not dropping our head on tackles, the first guy wrapping up and grabbing cloth and making sure he can finish it by himself. But when you don't, you need to rely on your teammate when you take your shot and you miss, that there's another guy behind you, that you don't always have to be perfect. So that's done with a relentless pursuit, and I think Coach Bobbitt and the defensive staff have done an unbelievable job as far as creating a culture that the players believe in one another, want to play for each other, and that they play extremely hard regardless of the situation, and that showed up. That is a win. 3 points in the red zone after a turnover in a critical situation. The way the game had transpired, you could have looked at that and pouted or sulked or, complained about the circumstance, and my main message to the team a lot is pretty consistent. Like, you define your circumstances, you got to come out and dominate the moment that you're put in, not look at it as a negative. It's an opportunity to showcase what we're about collectively as one unit, and I think they did that.
One of the questions that you've been asked quite a bit going into the season was about the quarterback competition and that battle and who won the job. Well, Coug fans found out Saturday it was Jackson Potter. What were your takeaways? How do you think Jackson Potter did in his first ever start of his college career?
I thought he did really good as far as like managing the game and getting the ball out of his hand. I think he does that really well. It's one of the main reasons he didn't have a lot of errors inside of fall camp. He consistently got better. He put his focus on himself and how he can improve. Accuracy-wise, he was there with the exception of a couple passes. And when we didn't have things clicking, and the competition being so close between really 3 guys, Zevi and Julian Duggar, the opportunity to try to make something happen. I don't know if I say I regret that, because if Julian gets out of that, he's walking into the end zone.
That was a shoestring. Yes, so that was.
Maybe the whole situation looks slightly different as far as my trust in Jackson. It wasn't a lack of trust in Jackson. He's got this calmness to him. He shows up every day. He's got joy in when he plays. He makes people around him better. And he has responded really ever since I've gotten to know him. Just his situation and where he was at on the depth chart never impacted how he worked. And then when the game was on the line, he was able to respond. And it was like he was playing backyard football, like he had mentioned in his post game. So I was proud of him and just his calmness. I was proud of how he handled his, the situation when we put Duggar in, that he wasn't pouting or sulking. He owned the moment when he got it back, and he made the most of it. And because of that, he'll learn from that moment, and so will I. As a coach walking into a situation without, a returning starter at the quarterback or a prominent player at the quarterback position that has so many reps. Jackson, that was his first start, and for him to do that I think, what is he, 22 of 30? That's pretty high, 200 yards, no interceptions, no sacks. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, well said there. And then he set up Jack Stevens for what was the game-winning field goal. Jackson and the whole offense had that drive to put the team in field goal range, which ultimately became the game-winning field goal. When Jack Stevens, that's also, he attempted one field goal at South Dakota State, so he's out in a spot he hadn't been in before. Drills his first field goal. They try to ice him. He made the one that they attempted to ice him on, and then he makes the game winner. What can you tell us about the Cougar kicker who came through with a big-time kick that ended up, again, sealing the game for the team?
I think Jack has a certain level of confidence in himself. I forget what the scenario was, but he had voted himself the most confident player on the team.
That takes some confidence.
It does, especially when you're a $140 and you're a kicker. But yeah, I'm proud of Jack. We brought him here for a reason. We felt like he could be an asset, and really he came through, and he's got to consistently get better as well and prove that he is the kicker that this team needs and deserves. So, about Jack, his brother is the starting kicker at the University of Iowa, so it runs in his blood, and his brother's been extremely successful, and we got to see that firsthand in person. So to have him here with us in a situation where we needed one, he came up clutch.
Good to have him in a Cougar uniform. Again, we are here at the Lumberyard in Pullman with Jimmy Rogers, the head coach of the Cougs, on the Cougar Football Hour, which is brought to you in part tonight by Toyota. Cougar Nation, each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards Program. Stay tuned for more information on how to become a Rewards Program member. We will take a break here from the Lumberyard in Pullman. More with the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, right after this. You are listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
As proud Cougs, we always find our way back home. At McVeigh Brothers, we want to help all Cougs improve the value of your home. Hello, I'm Mike McVeigh from McVeigh Brothers Roofing, Siding, and Windows, a proud supporter of Cougar Athletics. The team of professionals at McVeigh Brothers take great pride in helping our customers remodel their homes with new entry doors, rain gutters, siding, roofing, and windows. At McVeigh Brothers, we're working for you.
Your audio home for all things Cougar Athletics is the Washington State Cougar Podcast Channel. Just search for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to follow and subscribe to the official podcast home of the Cougs. Hear our original WSU Athletics podcast, plus replays from the Cougar Sports Network, including football pregame and postgame show coverage, full football game broadcast, and coaches shows. Find it all by searching for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to start listening today.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
You have the Coug jersey, the hat, and maybe even the license plate, but do you have the Coug debit card that supports Cougar Athletics every time you use it? Visit a local Giesa branch or Giesa.com to get your Coug card today. It's Coug Pride, pocket size. We are back here at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is our second Cougar Football Hour of the season. Another great turnout. Thank you for everyone being here tonight as back-to-back home games to start the season. Cougs getting ready. Homecoming matchup Saturday night, 7:15, Giesa Field against San Diego State. Our coverage here on the radio side will get started at 5 o'clock, and we're back here with Jimmy Rogers. And something we need to mention here, Coach, Cougs get ready for a homecoming weekend with live music and Cougar spirit. Country star Wyatt Flores hits the stage at Rogers Field tomorrow night, joined by the Broody Brothers. Doors open at 5:30. Tickets just $10 for students, $25 for the public. Don't miss it. Again, that's tomorrow night. $25 tickets for the public, $10 tickets for students, all at Rogers Field. With that, Coach, we're talking concerts. I know this time of year you're laser focused on football. Do you ever get to sneak away for a concert? Do you have an all-time favorite concert you've been to?
Not a big concert guy unless I'm sitting like above it, away from everybody. So
you're not in the mosh pit. You're telling me.
No, I'm not. I got the opportunity to see Luke Bryan a couple years ago, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That's great. Okay, well that's a really good one right there, and I'm sure that's a popular one with Cougs as well. Well, we have our guests here tonight. We're really excited. Josh Meredith, who's a veteran of the Cougar Football Hour, will be here, and Jake Minich as well. Let's start with the Cougar wide receiver coach. What does he mean to you, and what does he mean to the program?
Yeah, he's been pivotal for us as far as a coaching staff coming in and having a veteran guy with experience and having a heartbeat of the team. I think you have a shot as a program when your best players are your hardest workers, and he's an example of that. He works his butt off. And honestly, he's made the most of his time here and continuously gets better and is driven internally and not by outside things. And I think in an era that cares so much about what people think, Josh doesn't. He's got the same type of face I got. I kind of look at him maybe as he looks at me. He's hard to read at times. We don't smile much, but he's extremely competitive, and when we have success this season, he will go down as a guy that kept this thing together with a lot of players that we were able to have success with, and largely due to Josh, just his leadership. And his, he got this maybe the second or third most captain votes on the entire football team, and he doesn't say much. So it goes to show you how he works, and he's not like a specimen of an athlete. He's worked himself into that, and I don't mean that by any like a backhanded compliment. And I think he raises the floor of our program because we have guys that can come into this program, work their tail off, continue to get better athletically, and if they can see that an example of a guy that's had a great career here and becomes a captain, they aspire to be like him. And I think that's credit to him and his work ethic. Gained 10 pounds and got faster this offseason, and he's been critical for us. So I'm excited about the rest of this season for him. He's got, that aspirations to play at the next level. And as I've told every scout, just continue to watch his film. His numbers aren't what they will be this season, but he's going to be a really good player. And I know if he gets the opportunity, he'll make the most of it.
Josh Meredith was the first Coug to reach the end zone this year. That was so great to see, and that was a tough catch,
Ask him about his penalty.
Ask him about his penalty. I think you got him to smile. Both of you guys are smiling. You're saying you've got that, kind of the business expression, but at least you got to smile.
He was excited, but he knows that it was costly in that game. But I'm proud of him, man. He's been great.
Well, we'll have Josh a little bit later on, and then Jake Minich, wide receivers coach. What can you tell Coug fans about the coach who's in that crucial spot on the staff?
Yeah, I think he's a really mild-mannered, really smart, intuitive person that can think out, in the future and look at moves ahead. And the players respect him. He's not one to jump people or be demeaning in any way. And when players get to know him, they all love him because he is just like a more quiet, calmer coach. But he is extremely smart. I've known him for years. He was a player at South Dakota State when I was still there as a GA and as a coach, and honestly one of the best wide receivers that came through South Dakota State. His name is Jake Winicki, and he was a coach to Jake as a player because he always knew the X's and O's. He could always relay information from the coach back to the players, maybe in a different light to help them have success in learning and retaining information. And I think when you can do that and put yourself in the player's shoes, you're able to communicate what is realistic, what is unrealistic, and then develop a scheme to allow them to have success and play fast. And Jake does that for us.
Jake Minich, Josh Meredith, we're excited to talk with them coming up. Coach, we'll let you loose. Enjoy some of the food here at the Lumberyard, and we'll have you back a little later on as we preview Saturday's matchup with San Diego State.
Awesome.
Again, that is the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, here on the Cougar Football Hour. A reminder, earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, and luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com. The Cougar Football Hour rolls on after this. You're listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Nothing works up an appetite like cheering for your Cougs on game day. So why not cheer them on at Northern Quest with an impressive roster of restaurants and lounges? You can tackle the menu at Epic and catch every play on the 10 by 30-foot screen. Or grab a steak at Maslow's, a fine cigar at Legends of Fire, even a burger from Fat Burger. You know, for your inner linebacker. See more at northernquest.com. Go Cougs!
Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes every moment cheering on your team even better. Plus, the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when your beer is Rocky Mountain cold. So you never have to guess if your Coors Light is ready to drink. So crack one open, take a sip, and enjoy the game. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
We are back at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is the Cougar Football Hour. Washington State, the homecoming matchup Saturday night at Giesa Field, 7:15 kickoff against San Diego State. Well, you can listen to every Cougar football game and coaches show for free on the WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Download the WSU Cougars Game Day app today. You can get everything, all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts for free, including Cougar football. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. We're excited to welcome in Jake Minich, WSU wide receivers coach. Jake, thanks for being here tonight. How are you doing?
Doing good, yeah. Appreciate you guys having us out. Well,
here we are. First year, obviously, in Pullman. First year on the staff. How is life here on the Palouse for you?
It's been awesome. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool. My first time coming out to Washington was when we got the job. I think it was January 2nd. We flew out here and started work right from there. So that was my first time being here, and it's been good. It's been awesome. I enjoyed my time here and really don't have anything bad to say.
And for you, Midwest roots run pretty deep, so this is kind of your first time out in the Pacific Northwest overall?
Yeah, it was really, like I said, my first time being out here at all. Never been out this way on a vacation or anything, and then, I spent most of my time living in the Midwest, so, I had my first time being out here.
Okay, well, when folks look through the staff directory and they look at, the assistant coaches for the Cougs, your last name pops up not once but twice. Can you tell everyone at least the WSU family connections on the coaching staff?
Yeah, so my cousin is the safeties coach, Pete Menage. He's 2 years younger than me. We're both cousins. We worked together at South Dakota State, and then we're GAs together at Northern Illinois. So it's kind of our third stop working together, and obviously it's pretty cool. He's like a brother to me, so to get to work with him every day. I mean, you're not guaranteed to work with your family in this profession, right? And really that's a testament to Coach Rogers hiring both of us and bringing us both with. So, but it's pretty cool, that's for sure.
Well, I would think, too, you're moving to a place you've never been before. I know the staff is very close, but having an actual family member on the staff can't hurt either.
No, it's awesome. It's, kind of a comfort level, I guess. guess. I mean, obviously, you know the rest of the coaches on staff, or a lot of them, but to be able to do it with your cousin, somebody that you've grown up with is pretty cool. We actually live right across the street from each other, so we share plenty of meals and stuff throughout the course of the week, so it's a pretty cool experience for us.
Well, outside of not only having a cousin who's a coworker on the Cougar football staff, it is a football coaching family for you, right? Can you tell folks about how kind of deep those coaching ties run for your family?
Yeah, so my grandpa kind of started everybody getting in the coaching profession, I guess. He was a long-time high school athletic director and coach in the state of Minnesota. My dad coached college football for a little bit. I got an uncle right now that's a head coach at the high school level in Minnesota. And then my cousin Pete, his dad coached high school and college for a while too. So it kind of runs in the family blood. There was really nothing else that I wanted to do. I know my cousin would tell you the same thing.
You wrap up college, that's what you want to do. Can you walk us through your path, that coaching path that took you from college and ultimately landed you here in Pullman?
Yeah, so, thankfully I knew that I wanted to coach pretty early on, just getting to be around the game as a young kid and everything. I think sometimes coaches tell you they weren't sure that they wanted to get into coaching, but for me, I've known from a young age this is really what I wanted to do. I played at South Dakota State. My first year when I was done playing there, I got a graduate assistant job at Southwest Minnesota State, which is a Division II school in Minnesota. After that, I went to Northern Illinois, was an offensive graduate assistant there for 3 years, which was a great experience for me. My first full-time job was at Northwestern College, which is at an NAI school in Iowa. I was there for 1 season, and then when Coach Rogers got the head job back at South Dakota State last year, or 2 years ago, I should say, he hired me back as the receivers coach, and then obviously came out with him this year.
And then it all comes together. Here you are as a Coug. And so for Coach Rogers, he was talking a little bit about your ties, but just how far back do you go with him?
Yeah, I think 2013 was my first year playing college football, and it was either his first or second year back coaching linebacker. So, I've known him now for 12, 13 years. So, yeah.
And here you are as the wide receivers coach for the Cougs. We are here with Jake Minich. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, well, not only still to come, we'll have Josh Meredith join us a little bit later on, and we'll have Jimmy Rogers come back by as well. But we're going to have you kind of give us a breakdown of your position group. We want to hear about not only Josh, but all the guys who make up that wide receiver group for the Cougs. We'll take another break. More after this. You are listening to the Cougar Football Hour live from the Lumberyard in Pullman on the Cougar Sports Network.
Alliant Employee Benefits is the Inland Northwest leader in employee benefit consulting and brokerage. Alliant is a difference maker, providing employee benefit solutions and problem solving while helping companies grow and protect their business. Alliant keeps its clients on the forefront of the benefit industry's constant evolution while improving the benefits experience for employees through better health outcomes and more cost-effective care. Give Alliant a call and see what they can do for you.
Download the WSU Cougars mobile app today, which features the latest news. Plus, it's your way to stream all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts. Listen to Cougar football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, baseball game broadcast, plus coaches shows, all for free with WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now by searching WSU Cougars Game Day in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
If you use natural gas, you recognize its blue flame, but natural gas is actually invisible and odorless. That's why Avista adds a rotten egg scent, in case there's ever a leak. If you smell natural gas at home, get outside fast. Don't flip switches or do anything to cause a spark. Go somewhere safe. Call 911. Then Avista. We'll take care of the problem and tell you when it's okay to return. Till then, it's a good excuse to visit the neighbors. Avista. We just want you to be safe.
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the Wazoo campus. They've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with the new addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonByHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
This is the Cougar Football Hour. Tonight's show is presented by the Lumberyard. They got something for everyone at the Lumberyard Food Hall in downtown Pullman. Once again, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Homecoming week here in Pullman, Washington State, hosting San Diego State Saturday night, Giesa Field, 7:15 kickoff. Here on the Cougar Football Hour, we are joined once again by WSU wide receivers coach Jake Minich. All right, let's jump into this position group, the guys you get to work with. Let's start with our next guest that we'll have coming up in the next segment, Josh Meredith. What can you tell Coug fans about Josh Meredith that you've learned from him? They're familiar with Josh Meredith, but your time working with him since taking over with the staff here back over the winter.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to kind of echo what Coach said a little bit. The first thing I noticed really about Josh was just his calm demeanor. Nothing ever got him too high or too low. And I really appreciate that about him. Kind of like Coach said, when the coaching transition, everything happened, Josh probably had some opportunities to maybe go some other places and everything, but chose to, really give us a chance as a staff and give me a chance as a receiver coach and everything. And, one thing he told me was he started at Washington State and he wanted to finish at Washington State, right? And how much this place means to him and his experience here. So I appreciate that a ton from him. But, he's calm. He's very mature for his age. And he's a confident kid, last game was obviously kind of a tense situation going into a 2-minute drive, right? And as a coach, you look to the guys that have been in those situations before and guys that have confidence. And I didn't have any fear or nervousness as a coach because I know guys like him and some of the older guys in our room are going to go out there and operate. But, he's a joy to coach. I really don't even have to coach him that much because he has such a standard for himself with how he works and everything, which is really all you can ask for as a coach.
Next guy I'm going to ask you about has kind of that same veteran presence, it feels like, for the Cougs, even though he's in his first year at Washington State. That's Jeremiah Noga, who transferred from Oregon State. How big of an ad was he in the transfer portal?
Yeah, he was big time for us. When you looked at kind of our receiver room, obviously Josh had played a lot of football, last year. But when you looked at the rest of the room, there wasn't a ton of guys who had a ton of game experience, especially at this level of football. So, when we knew we needed to take a guy, Jeremiah kind of fitted that bill as far as like, hey, he's an older guy who's played in the Pac-12, and he wanted to be at Washington State. That was the cool part too. He didn't entertain a lot of other schools because he wanted to be here. And I think there's something to be said about kids that want to be at your school, especially in this day and age that we live in right now. So for him to want to be here, and then again, a guy who had experience, and he's got that same kind of demeanor to him that Josh has, very calm, and like on Saturday, he was the same way. I wasn't nervous with him at all out there because he has been in those situations, and we have confidence with what he can do.
Next group of guys, two guys I'm going to lump together just a little bit in the fact that they've been here at Washington State and they seem primed for an expanded role this year, in Tony Freeman and Leon Neal Jr.
Yeah, both those guys have been awesome. I think both those guys were probably waiting their opportunity last year and had some good guys ahead of them, but could have got out there and had success. But really those guys, ever since I've got here, have just put their head down and worked, right? Leon and Tony battled an injury a little bit this spring with his hammy, but when he got healthy this spring in this fall camp, he's been busting his tail and everything, and it really earned what he got in the game on Saturday because he's been working for that. And I would say Leon's very much the same way. As a guy that started his career as a walk-on and everything, had been a part of special teams, and then he was one of the first guys that we noticed when we got here as far as his ability to make plays and just how consistent he was as a worker. So it's been cool to see both those guys, just the growth that they've made the past couple months that I've been with them, and the role that they're going to have for us this season.
Another returner, but maybe a different skill set, guy who can maybe be more of a vertical stretcher, impressive speed, a state champion at the high school level speed, and Brandon Ganeshamorthy.
Yeah, Brandon, he's been awesome to coach. Kind of a funny story with him. When I got the coaching job at South Dakota State a couple years ago, we were still looking for a receiver, and Brandon was a guy that we reached out to recruit a little bit, and some. We went a different way with some other things, and he ended up here, obviously. So when I got the job here and saw that he was on staff, I was excited just to get to coach him and everything because I thought his film at the high school level was good. So, he's grown a ton as a player the last couple of years, and I even think he has more of a ceiling that he can reach. He's still raw in some of the receiver stuff. He battled an injury a little bit this summer, and we'll keep, continuing to grow his package and everything as far as what he does on the field. But, yeah, he brings something different to the receiver room. He's a bigger, longer guy, a little bit like a longer strider, like you said, can take the top off the defense, do some of the different stuff that way. So, we're excited about him too.
Carter Paps has earned rave reviews throughout fall camp. Someone who seems like he's done everything possible as a freshman to hit the ground running. What has he done to earn those rave reviews that he's been able to receive?
Yeah, really, he's done everything he said he was going to do. He said he was going to come in and compete, and he wanted that opportunity, and he's really done that since he stepped on campus. My relationship with Carter goes back a little bit. We recruited him at South Dakota State, and then, chose to came here when we got the job here. And he's done, like I said, everything that we thought he would do and everything that he said he was going to do, and he's earned, everything that he's gotten so far. And obviously he's got work to continue to do and room to continue to grow, but we're excited about him and his future and what he can do for this football program.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to touch on every single guy, but just kind of maybe a little lightning round. Devin Elson's been banged up. That's unfortunate, but Leighton Smithson's someone else who also has been a Coug. He's played on both sides of the ball, and here he is back as a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys like Josh, like Jeremiah, like Leon, that just has a calming presence to him. He's a senior. He's played receiver, then moved to safety, back at receiver, but he has a ton of game experience, which I think there's something to be said about that. So I've enjoyed having him in the room. Leighton's kind of a unique personality, and he brings a different dynamics to the room, which I appreciate a ton.
And I know that maybe this is an unfair question because I'm putting you on the spot of everyone, but anyone else we didn't touch on who, maybe depending how the season goes, Cougs could see him out there, or guys in the future that, hey, not everyone's going to hit the ground running and play year one, but these guys are in the pipeline, they're developing, and they can make an impact in the seasons to come.
Yeah, I think Landon Wright and Matt Colleen are the first guys that come to my mind. Those guys are both redshirt freshmen that didn't get a ton of time last game, and we'll see how the season shakes out. But both those guys have bright futures here for sure. We're excited about them and the impact that they can have on our program. Noah Westbrook, Cam Weir, Caden Harkin are some other younger guys in the program who, like I said, probably won't do much for us this season, but moving forward, we're excited about the impact that they can have on our program.
Jake, it's great having you here in Pullman. Thanks for the time tonight, and best of luck. Go get them. Can't wait to see you, everyone else out there Saturday night for the game against San Diego State.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Again, that is Jake Minich, wide receivers coach for Washington State, joining us here on the Cougar Football Hour. We will take another time out here from the Lumberyard in Pullman. Still to come when we return, Cougar wide receiver Josh Meredith will stop by, and we'll be rejoined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. That's all after this break. You're tuned in to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
The post-crib assembly press conference, brought to you by Progressive.
Michael, you had some trouble putting the crib together today. What went wrong?
Those instructions can be tough, and, you saw the outcome.
Were you upset when your wife pulled you and called in the backup?
No, the baby needs a crib to sleep in, so whatever it takes.
You've got a changing table to put together next. It's got a lot of drawers. What's your comment?
You know what? We're done here.
Like it or not, sometimes you need a backup. That's why there's Progressive to protect your home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. Rural communities face unique healthcare challenges. By providing hands-on opportunities for WSU students in health sciences, nursing, pharmacy, and the Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine, Pullman Regional Hospital is helping to shape the future of local healthcare. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
Dear Traction, Toyota has 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4 has legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real. And the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Play, stay, get away at Clearwater River Casino in Lewiston, Idaho. Owned and operated by the Nez Perce Tribe. Experience Namipu hospitality with 600 gaming machines, comfortable lodging, dining, and sports bar. Excitement is everywhere. The region's premier destination for events and entertainment. Win big with unforgettable concerts, comedy shows, and live sports action. Discover your next play, stay, get away. Visit crcasino.com and start your adventure today.
The Junior Cougs Kids Club. It is presented by Toyota. It is the official kids club of the Washington State Cougars, and it is the best way for the youngest members of Cougar Nation to show off their Cougar pride. Find out more information about your Junior Cougs membership perks at wsucougars.com/JRCougs. Chris King back with you here at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is the Cougar Football Hour, and we are excited to welcome in Josh Meredith. Let's give it up for the returning Coug who scored the first touchdown of the season for Washington State. How are you doing tonight? Welcome back to the Cougar Football Hour.
Man, it's good to be back. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's a good night when I get a visit with Josh Meredith. And, this opponent, it's got to be kind of unique for you. I was asking you during the break, you're a San Diego guy. You're from that area.
Yeah.
How far from the campus is your home where you grew up?
A good 10 minutes. It's pretty close.
That is not bad at all. So San Diego, it's got to be unique playing a team like that where I know a lot of those guys are from San Diego County, or they're from Southern California on that San Diego State squad. So I'm sure there's a number of guys on the opposing team that you are familiar with. Okay, so
This season, you're named a captain. You're back with the Cougs. You're one of the elder statesmen. What's it like being a captain, being a leader? You know, you're at this point of your career now.
I will say, looking back at it, I never really expected myself to be a captain. Kind of like what everyone's been saying tonight, I'm a mellow guy. I'm not the like rah-rah, hype everyone up. But being behind people like Lincoln Victor, I kind of knew that that role is a super cool role, and it's real important for a team. So when I came back, I kind of gave myself a self-goal to make sure I could become a captain and put myself in that spot.
Well, and you were definitely able to achieve that. And we had a question from Josh in the crowd here. How do you explain to some of the new Cougs what it means to bleed crimson? And you are at the tippy top of the list of guys in that locker room who would be able to give the best answer to that question.
I will just say, like, you sleep, breathe, and you're just a Coug. Everything you do is resonated around the Cougs. You walk with your chest high. You kind of just do the right things for the right people, because that building is filled with people that want to do that. So, yeah.
This crowd loves that. They love hearing that. For you, I know, an off season where there's a coaching change, that's different, and especially in this era where, the options are kind of wide open for a player, and you really maybe think about something when there is a coaching change. How was that for you? And it's great hearing Coach Rogers talk about you, Jake Minich, your position coach, talk about you. But I imagine in December, January, that was an interesting time. How do you look back on that and see yourself in this spot now where you're a captain for the team and you bleed crimson?
I look back and kind of laugh, because who knows where I would be right now if I didn't stay. There was options, but I will say, like, you got to give kudos to this new staff. When I entered, that didn't stop them from reaching out and trying to talk to me. I think the first coach I ever talked to was like at 10 p.m. at night on like a Friday. Like, it was random, but I was at home in San Diego with like my best friends, and I got a call. Didn't know the call, or like the phone number, and I answered it, and it was a coach, and I was surprised. I was caught off guard. So it goes to show, like, they really cared and wanted me to do something for his team. They told me I had a role for the room. There's not that much experience in that room, and me coming back would be a huge deal, and I kind of took that on the chin. I was like, you're right. I got to respect what I've put myself through the last 4 seasons and had something to prove, so coming back, I could do that.
Well, you always got a home here in Pullman, too. You got a lot of football left in a Cougar uniform, but that's a neat thing about it, is you're a Coug for life. I'm going to ask you a little trivia question here. There's going to be a pop quiz. Let's see how you fare. Can you name how many of your teammates have either been around as long as you or longer?
Okay, so there's me, Leon, Christian, Brock, Dylan Payne, Ram Stevenson.
And then, Brock. Oh, you did pretty good here. Did you say Layton? I think you got them all. Yeah, I'm just looking at my list here. You good. You passed the test 100%. Is it interesting kind of looking around the locker rooms at times, whether it's maybe Layton in your position group or Dylan Payne or Leon in your position group or Brock and Christian, and being like, we've been around here a while compared to the new pups?
Yeah, we walk around the locker room and we get called Unk.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm old, but I'm not that old, so it's just funny. I just turned 22 in August, and you got 17-year-olds walking around in there. And you kind of got to remember, like, I was 17 in this locker room. So it's a cool sight, but it's rare nowadays. So I'm glad I got a cool people to share with.
That's a good perspective to have. And I know the phrase has been used with you, Mr. Reliable. And I know that goes kind of on the field, off the field. But you're someone, too, who had to, and like everyone else on this list that we named, that maybe you weren't playing a ton early on, but your time ultimately came. On that note, I think back to the Apple Cup. And the Apple Cup will be here soon. There's a big game coming up against San Diego State. But last year, you came through in a big way, over 100 yards receiving, a touchdown. What was that game like? Because in a lot of ways, that was a breakout game for you.
I'll just say everyone kind of needs that game. And for everyone, it might be different. For me, it just so happened to be that one, and it was a confidence boost. Kind of reminded me that I could really do it at a certain level and help carry a team to a victory and just have a pivotal role. So I will say having that helped me throughout the whole season, even through the ups and downs. It's just like a little reminder, the game will come again. The ball's going to find me. Just got to do my job, and it's all going to work out. So.
Something Jimmy Rogers mentioned tonight, he has said about you kind of in the build-up to the season throughout fall camp, is how you've improved your speed. How were you able to do that? Because that has caught your coach's attention, that your speed has making a jump from last season, or at least what they saw when the staff came in, to what they've seen now this year.
I would just say it's really just staying the course. You got to respect what the coaches are teaching you and what the like the weight coaches are trying to do for you, and you have to really dig in and just believe in it. And it just, you go out there every day, you work, you push yourself, it's going to show up on the field, and it did this offseason.
Again, Josh Meredith, our guest here on the Cougar Football Hour. Before we let you go here in just a second to enjoy some of that great food here at the Lumberyard, I'm thinking about life in the classroom. Where are things at in the classroom, and how's everything going as far as, at WSU away from the field?
Like I said, I've been here a while. Since my 5th season. I actually only have one class right now. So Tuesdays and Thursdays I have one class. It's my capstone for criminal justice. So I'll be doing that. That's all I really got on campus for school. And it's a really fun class. So I've been enjoying it so far. And then away from it, I still have my 2 dogs. So
there we go. How tell everyone their names, what kind of dogs, and how they're doing.
Okay, so I have Ozzy. He is a brown lab mix. Not really sure what he's mixed with. And then I have Anubis, who's a Belgian Shepherd boxer. I know what he's mixed with because my family had puppies on accident. So I just took it upon myself to get one. Yeah. And I got 2 roommates who also have 2 dogs. So we have 4 dogs in total. So
that's a full house. When it's a road trip, who's taking care of them? Your roommates around or roommates' teammates?
So it's me, Ram, and Keith Brown.
Okay.
We're all roommates, and we have a couple people that we really do trust to come watch our dogs and check in on them. So.
I love it. I love it. Josh, thanks for being here tonight. Exciting to see what you've done in just one game here in your senior season, and can't wait what you have in front of you for the rest of the year. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Again, that is Josh Meredith, Cougar wide receiver, joining us here on the Cougar Football Hour. Things will roll on here from the Lumberyard in Pullman after this timeout. We'll be rejoined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers, as we have our opponent preview. Washington State hosting San Diego State Saturday night, that homecoming matchup at Giesa Field. You are listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
Coug fans, don't miss a single play this season while camping on the Oregon coast, in the Sonoran Desert, or in the wilderness of Yellowstone in an RV from Valley RV Supercenter. Valley RVs can come with all the technologies you'll need so you never miss a down, wherever you are. Better yet, why not work on your pregame skills at an away game or in the Palouse, where tailgating was perfected. We're a proud Coug supporter. Come see us in Kent or at ValleyRVSupercenter.com, where journeys begin.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
As proud Cougs, we always find our way back home. At McVeigh Brothers, we want to help all Cougs improve the value of your home. Hello, I'm Mike McVeigh from McVeigh Brothers Roofing, Siding, and Windows, a proud supporter of Cougar Athletics. The team of professionals at McVeigh Brothers take great pride in helping our customers remodel their homes with new entry doors, rain gutters, siding, roofing, and windows. At McVeigh Brothers, we're working for you.
When putting in a tree or fence post, we all hate it when our shovel hits a big rock. But there are worse things to come across, like a natural gas or electric line. Nowadays, buried utilities are everywhere, some just below the surface. That's why it's the law to call 811 before you dig, to have your lines marked ahead of time. It's free for Avista residential customers. So call 811 2 business days before you dig. You need time to pick out that perfect shrub anyway. Avista, we just want you to be safe.
Back at the Lumberyard in Pullman, it is the Cougar Football Hour. We are rejoined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. Let's get to it. Time now for the opponent preview presented by Coors Light. Choose Chill, proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Let's dive into this week's matchup. San Diego State going to be at Giesa Field on Saturday night. Okay, San Diego State, they got to play on Thursday of week 1. They thumped Stony Brook, scored over 40 points in that game, and shut them out. What should fans expect to see from this Aztec team that will be coming to town this weekend?
Yeah, they're an up-tempo offense. They use RPO quite a bit, and they got a quarterback that's, taking his first debut snaps there this last game, and I thought he did a really good job. They got really good weapons on the perimeter, and when you go fast and you're able to run the ball like how they do, it makes it hard for our defense. So we need to be ready for those things. We got to be able to adjust in a game, and I would say defensively they're very similar, close to us as far as the structure of how they play, the coverages in which they play. So they will be multiple cover 4, cover 3, cover 2. They'll blitz you, zero blitz you, and so we need to be kind of ready for everything and adjust as the game goes on that side of the ball as well. Overall, I think Sean Lewis does a great job. He did a great job at Kent State, and last year and it being his first year is always hard to tell kind of what a team is. But looking at their roster, looking at what they were able to do and how they did it last week, I don't care who you're playing, if to hold a team to 95 total yards, a shutout, 40-some yards rushing, 40-some yards passing, it's pretty impressive. And then they're very consistent on offense for the most part throughout the entire game. So we need to be ready to play our best football. We've prepared that way this week as far as understanding that we can't take anybody lightly. This is a future conference opponent that we have the opportunity to kind of see how we size up to in this season, and we need to get ready to play our best football.
The quarterback you mentioned, Jaden Dinegal, an interesting path for him. He was the backup to J.J. McCarthy when Michigan won a national championship a couple years ago, but a SoCal guy and now back closer to home and the starter for San Diego State. On defense, Cougs faced the San Diego State team last year, and Trey White, one of the big stories. He's the preseason Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He had 12.5 sacks last year. I know when the Cougs faced the Aztecs last season, he had 10.5 sacks over his prior 4 games, and that seems to be kind of a big picture theme for them. Not only is Trey White back, they've got a lot of experience, a lot of returners on defense. Yeah,
all their starters, but their will linebacker is a junior or a senior. I think they're good up front. I think Trey White is a phenomenal player that's extremely explosive, can bend the edge. We have our hands full with him for sure, and I think their linebacker core is really solid. They make a ton of plays, really physical up front, especially at the Mike linebacker position. Guys that kind of really know the system and how they're working right now, and I think they're really long at corner and have great speed. So it will be a challenge, there's no question, and I'm excited to see how our guys respond through the day and rise above.
You mentioned Sean Lewis in his social media handle. It's "Life is too short to huddle." So I know you mentioned tempo. Just exactly how much tempo when his mantra is "Life is too short to huddle"?
Yeah, they'll go fast, or they'll just go fast and look to the sidelines. It's I wouldn't say it's a million miles an hour, but it is fast, and our guys need to be prepared for that. And I think they do a really good job executing inside the scheme. I think he's done a really good job at recruiting. My short time on the West Coast and being able to see the players that he's been able to bring in and just how he's gone about it in the last year. Had the opportunity to meet him this past summer just at a camp. Really a respectful guy that's you could tell why players enjoy being around him. And it'll be a tough matchup this weekend.
That is the coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. We'll take another break here from the Lumberyard in Pullman. When we come back, we'll get to our listener and audience questions. That's all here on the Cougar Football Hour. More after this timeout right here on the Cougar Sports Network.
O'Reilly. Save now on the products you need for your vehicle at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Mix and match O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner or O'Reilly Carburetor Cleaner and get 2 cans for $7. Our professional parts people can help you find all the parts and supplies you need for your vehicle. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Nothing works up an appetite like cheering for your Cougs on game day. So why not cheer them on at Northern Quest with an impressive roster of restaurants and lounges? You can tackle the menu at Epic and catch every play on the 10 by 30-foot screen. Or grab a steak at Maslow's, a fine cigar at Legends of Fire, even a burger from Fat Burger. For your inner linebacker. See more at northernquest.com. Go Cougs!
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Everybody knows you shouldn't retire until you're 65.
Buying a house? 20% down or nothing, bud.
It's easy. Put your money into savings and never touch it.
There's a lot of questionable money advice out there. For financial knowledge that can help you reach your version of success, come to Giza Credit Union. We can walk you through everything you need to feel confident about your finances. There's a healthier approach to money. Find it at Giza Credit Union. Giza is an equal opportunity lender.
We are back at the Lumberyard in Pullman. It is the Cougar Football Hour. Again, a big thank you to the Lumberyard here in Pullman. What a great spot. Our new host of the Cougar Football Hour. And when we get around to it, too, and we'll be here before we know it, the Cougar Basketball Hour as well. We're joined by the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. All right, our listener and audience questions. Again, another week where we got a lot of good questions. I'm not sure time-wise if we'll get to them all. From Sean here in the audience, now that you've been in Pullman for a while, what do you like the most?
Yeah, I would say the people in the community, the views here, it's somewhat remote, but I think the small town feel and people being genuine, that's kind of how I am. I'm not one for a huge city. I grew up in a big city, but I do like the town here. I like the atmosphere here. I love the players I get to coach, and I like that I get to deal with a staff that I know, that I trust, that there's a lot of work put into one system together collectively.
Great answer. Okay, Mark B. in Riverside. And this is interesting, too. What team activities take place on a Friday night before a game? Does it matter if home or on the road when it comes to all that?
Yeah, Friday nights, we knock out most of our stuff here before we head to the hotel. So when we're, right after we eat dinner, we do really what is called the clap session on both sides of the ball. So the offense together will give a play call to the quarterback. The quarterback will communicate it in the huddle. Everything's on a cadence and a clap. So the players are in unison. We then show the play and what we're doing and what we're trying to attack offensively. So the players always see that. That's how we kind of go through our openers. Defensively, it's very similar. The only difference is, we have a signaler in the defensive room. They signal in the personnel, the actual call, and then our defense immediately sets the front with the Mike linebacker. We start communicating inside of the room, and so we force the players to have to communicate out loud their thoughts. It allows us to, go over any things that we hear them say wrong. But it's more of a review than anything of things that we may see and responsibilities. And then on both sides of the football, each coach will talk about the respective play that we're watching and their insight on the play and the things that we need to do well in order to have success inside of it. So although the game of football is really a play-to-play situation and everything could be, you may get a look that you weren't expecting, or you may get something, the exact same thing that you were expecting. You have to be able to execute, and you have to play with great detail and technique. And if anything, that's the point I'm excited to see how that comes together this weekend, because I think we took a jump a little bit this past week.
Can't wait for the game Saturday. Coach, as always, appreciate the time. We'll see you there Saturday night. That is the head coach of the Cougs, Jimmy Rogers. Thanks to all of our guests, Josh Meredith, Jake Minich. A big thanks here at the Lumberyard on the audio side, Jerry Kylo, the video side, Jared Pringruber, and back in our Cougar Sports Network studios, Zane Saggio. I'm Chris King signing off. It's homecoming. We'll see you Saturday night, Giza Field, 7:15 kickoff. Go Cougs. This has been the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network.
You've been listening to the Cougar Football Hour on the Cougar Sports Network. Tonight's show has been brought to you by the Lumberyard.